with you. This meeting is being live streamed. Hi, Facebook people. How are we? This is my second interview after coming back from having COVID. Ooh, but I made it. Woo! Yeah. And I'm so glad to be back. I know most of you watch this after the fact, and that's okay. I have a sponsor. I forgot to mention him on the first interview I just did. My sponsor is the Veterans of Comedy, run by Will Clifton and Eric Knowles. And they have my back, and they go around the world making sure that there's no laugh left behind for our military and veterans. So if you ever want to have someone who served our country serve up jokes, get a hold of theveteransofcomedy.com. And that's my paid announcement. Now for the part I'm not getting paid for, which is the fun part. Now we get to play. I've got someone here in the other square over there who's ready to play with me. And he is, I'm going to tell you his name in a second, because every time I say a comedian's name, they think it's a cue to start talking. So I have to leave to the end. So this person in the other square over there is a local Vegas comedian. One heck of a very nice guy. We'll go into that later. He's a Wise Guy's favorite. That's the new club in Vegas that's owned by, I guess it's fair to say, owned by Dry Bar. They're part and parcel of the Dry Bar Comedy. That's the same people. Kevin Stubbs's group of comedy clubs. It's here in Vegas in the Arts District, and he's a local favorite. And last night, he was actually featuring, and he said that he's so proud of himself because he did a squeaky clean comedy set. I'm so proud of him. I mean, what's not to be proud of? That's hard work. So he says that you can also check out his podcast wherever good podcasts can be found. And his podcast, whoever he is, I haven't said his name yet, is called Edging the Truth. And now, drum roll, please. Coming to the stage to be interviewed, the amazing local Vegas comedian and favorite Wise Guys, Brian Shinanigan, with an all eyes. Hi there, Brian.
Hi, Linda. Thank you so much for having me. And it wasn't just a clean set; it was a church clean set. And that's harder. That's harder. You can't even say nothing.
On the level of clean, is church clean like at the top?
Oh yeah. It goes like clean, like TV clean, TV clean, and church clean. Church clean, you can't say nothing. No innuendo, no entendre, nothing even adjacent. I couldn't even say the word condom. So yeah, that's church clean. I did it.
That is so great. So you did about 15 minutes of comedy?
I split it. We did about 10 and 10 because there was another guest that hopped in, but I mean, it was good. I was happy to do the 10. It was, I thought it was great. It was a good show. I just love Wise Guys anytime they give me any time over there. It's always fun. And I just love that club. I mean, it's good. And it's just, for me, like, it was just to prove that I could do that level of clean set. I mean, because I'm pretty clean anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like a lot of like dirty comedy and even swearing and stuff, it's like a crutch. And I never write swearing on the paper most of the time, so why would I say it in the bit? So it's just one of those things, because I thought I was a fairly clean comedian as well until they told me church clean, and I'm like, oh, well, there goes my closer. Well, there goes my other thing, because they were all clean, but they weren't church clean, So it's like, I mean, it was fun. It was fun. I had a good time. I did it, but they told us to be clean, and the opening guy was not. Very much was not. And so, like, the manager was like, oh, I told them all to be clean. But I'm like, whatever. I did a great set. It was a fun night, and we're going to run it back again tonight because, that's what comedy is. Doesn't matter how the show is, you still do it. I mean, that's why I told the other guy, I'm like, dude, this is the job. This is the job. It doesn't matter if there's 5 people, 500 people. It doesn't matter if you had the best set of your life or the worst. This is the job. You got to go up here. You got to do your time, get your money, and go on to the next one, And that's the gig. If you can't handle it a slow crowd on a first Fridays in your home club. How you gonna do when you're in the middle of rural St. Louis at some club you've never been to and you bomb hard? You just gotta go back and do the second show. Like what are you gonna do? So,
Totally.
but that's why I like comedy. Every experience is different, and and even the same joke you've told that killed a million times may run into a room that just is like stone faces. So that's
Yes.
the game. That's part of the fun of it, and adapting and just kind of doing your thing. And I think that's why I love comedy so much, is because it's not just the writing and all the thing that builds up to the acts, but the performance and just even being able to react in that performance to what you're doing and to read the crowd and to adjust and I think that's how you get better as a comic, is you're not like, oh well, this is not working, let me change something up, instead of just like, well, I'm finishing this set. Like, so it's fun. It's fun.
Let
I
me
really like
ask
it.
you, since you're on the topic of reading the room and changing up your material based on the crowd, can you give me the 1, 2, 3 from the Brian Shinanigan playbook on that? Like, everybody has their own way. There's
Hmm.
people who are very strong and determined, and they don't care about the crowd. They're just going to do exactly what they do because they're professionals. And then you got the other end of the spectrum of people that read the room and change things up. Neither one's right or wrong. It's a style. What do you do?
Well, and I
Where's
think and I think both are professionals. I mean,
the
and for me, it comes down to set length. If it's like a 5 7 minute set, it doesn't give you a lot of room to adjust. It's like you because with me, like I some people go up there and they're like, oh, I need to be lighted at 4 minutes, so I'm off at five. No, no, no. I know exactly how much time all of my jokes are. I know I have stuff built in for if there's laughs. I have multiple jokes on deck for alternate stuff. Like my whole set is a puzzle, and I do it before I go in. I know exactly the timing of every single one of my jokes. I mean, I write everything down. I perform it. I come back. I rewrite it. I mean, I am the most prepared, because it's just, I guess it comes from my corporate side, is just, prior preparation prevents poor performance. So,
That's exactly how I am. I get it. That's
yeah, because
awesome.
I have to be ready, because I don't want to be, I just don't want to be caught down. And I think somebody said, the other night I was talking to another comedian, Kitty Pineapple, and
Love her.
we were talking about, like, well, she's like, do you do improv? Like, do you do that kind of stuff? And I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just not really that's not really my style, but like my influences and everything kind of start. I'm more of like a Groucho Marx, like Don Rickles kind of thing, like that quickness, that speed, to be able to just be in any situation and just all of a sudden you just pull that quip, that joke, that whatever out of your bag of tricks. But the only way you can get that in your brain is to already have it all written down, to have that Rolodex of 1,000 responses in there. When I opened for
Wow.
Bob Zaney in December, when I opened for him, it was the same thing. We had I do every first Fridays, it seems, at Wise Guys, and we did a Friday crowd with 12 people. And I made a joke to him that, oh, I'm going to go tell every single one of these people a joke. And then he came out and told every single one of those people a joke. I mean, he was in the audience. He sat in the audience. He did half of his set without a mic. And just like, and I've seen a lot of, Bob Zaney has been doing comedy officially as long as I've been alive. He started the same year I was born. So, I
Wow.
mean, he's forgotten more about comedy than I'll ever, know. But it was
Ah,
just the speed, the quickness, that quick reaction time, and just a clinic of where it was a 12-person show. And I've seen plenty of other comics that just hang it up, do their 45, get a check. He did an hour 15 for these people. They were beyond entertained. Everyone left happy, and it was a tiny show. And for me, like, that was a true learning experience as a comic. For me, I don't care if one person's there. I've done stuff for 0 people, so it's good for me. I felt bad for him as a headliner, but in the end, like I said, it goes back to, this is the job. Some people will just do their 45. Oh, it's a bad crowd. Do their 45, get out. But he was a professional, and like that is that old school. That's that old school Rickles. That's that old school Groucho Marx. It's that old school, like, I'm just doing my job. I want these people they paid to be here. I don't care if there's 10 people or whatever. They took the time to come out and see me. I'm gonna give him the best show, and like that. I mean, that was huge for me. And but that's my style. I'm prepared. I know my stuff. I'm ready to go, but I still have enough stuff in the Rolodex that if a curveball is thrown at me, I'm good. I can hang with it. And I think I would be good at improv. I do a lot of character work. I do a lot of voices. I just like to have a lot of fun. But but I'm more into the quickness back and forth, just like the interactions and stuff. I think
Right.
that's kind of what it thrives on. So
I was there and I saw you open, or I guess you could say you featured for that night.
I opened. Yeah, I was the opener. Yeah.
Okay, so on Saturday night, weren't you there too?
Yeah, I did Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, I came in on Saturday and there was probably 30 people there, I think, or something.
Yeah, I was happy for that crowd.
Yes. And I never saw anything like what he did. He broke through barriers and fourth walls and fifth walls. He was pulling out every trick. He wasn't shying away from any. The crowd was with him, every single person. I think he knew everybody's name by the end of
Yeah. He not only knew everybody's name, he called them back. He did callbacks to what he talked to them about. He did callbacks to what they did. He built other jokes off of the couple audience members. I've seen a ton of Bob Zaney stuff. I've seen his stuff online. I know his jokes.
Yes.
He's done a lot of the same jokes for quite a while. But it just was so awesome to watch him do all that crowd work and really work it and make it all personal, and then settle back into his joke, and then go back out again to the crowd, and then settle back into his next thing, his next little bits, his zany report, the other great stuff he does. And and as a veteran, it's a veteran comedian. And one day I'll get there. But man, I think every time you think where you got your act, or you got where you're at in comedy, you see somebody better and you're like, oh, no, I still gotta do my thing. So
true. You never arrive. You have to, and that's what if you're really truly an artist in love with the art, that's what spurs you on, because you can't arrive.
Yeah, I mean, I love writing, and I always wrote forever before I even did the stand-up game, and before I really kind of got into this, I was all corporate world. I was in a tech company, and I did trade shows and all that stuff, and did hosting for trade shows, and I did a ton of that work. It's like I was talking to my other comic friend Carmen Morales the other day, about because she's like, man, it's just this road life, and I'm like, yeah, I lived this road life, but it was trade shows, not comedy shows. But it's still the same thing. It's that lonely night on the road, good trade show, bad trade show, random, bars, restaurants, and assorted encounters afterwards in rural parts of America. It's that whole thing. It's the same life.
And it's public speaking, holding people's attention, making them like you.
Yeah. And keeping, especially in a lot of the tech trade shows I did, like snooze fests, and you got to keep it moving, so I think but that always makes me outgoing and makes all that stuff. And now, I'm just kind of filling in the comedy.
Yes.
Because I've always been in entertainment and stuff. So
it's time for the ride in the DeLorean. We're going to time travel back to when you were a little kid.
Okay.
Tell me who you were in school. I can't picture you in your home. I can't picture you in school. I did Jackie Cation's interview. I got her totally wrong. I thought she'd be in the back of the room with the smart aleck remarks. Not true. So I'm kind of thinking you were the smart aleck. Were you?
To a point. I was a student athlete.
Really?
I went to a high school called Montclair College Prep in Van Nuys. It no longer exists. It's gone. It was in the shadow of the brewery. So when I went to school, we always smelled the brewery, and the Keebler Cookie Factory was right next to the brewery. So in the morning you could smell cookies and the hops. Or when they burned a batch of those cookies, oh, you couldn't get that smell out of your nose for weeks. But no, I actually went to high school on a sports scholarship. Because I did so good in middle school sports and stuff. This school recruited me, and that was kind of what they did. If you actually paid to go to this school, I think it was $10,000 a semester.
What sports were you good at that got you into college?
I played everything. I did football and volleyball was what I went all state in my junior and senior year. In my high school career, we only lost one game, and it was the last one. We never lost a game the entire time I played, from seventh grade to the last game I played as a senior, I never lost a game.
Gee.
So yeah, we it was great, and I did get offered a lot of sports scholarships. To I and If I'd got a volleyball one, honestly, I would have taken it in a second. But the football ones, it was too much. My senior year, I let it all out there. I played half the season on a broken ankle. I was
Wow.
dislocating my shoulder every couple games, and they would just put a shot in me and put me out there. But it literally, if I had taken the scholarship, like, because I got a full ride from UNLV, but I got two kinds of scholarships from UNLV. I got Scholastic because I was also 4.5 grade point average. I didn't even go to the whole second half of my senior year, and I did movie extra work. That's a whole other story.
I gotta hear that.
But I mean, that was so, but I got enough Scholastic stuff that I just went on that side of it, because if I took the football scholarship, the week after I graduated, I graduate, 1 week later, I would have had to show up to training camp. And I'm like, I'm good on the football.
That's terrible.
And plus, like I said, it put me through the ringer. I mean, I'm still have effects from it now. So I'm glad I didn't go college football. So, but yeah, then I went to college at UNLV to start as a pyrotechnics major. So fireworks.
That's so cool.
And I kind of learned everything I wanted to learn. I know how to make fireworks. I can do all that stuff. And then I switched over. I kind of came back to LA for a minute because I was doing the extra work again and just had some issues in Vegas. So I kind of came back to LA, and then I went to San Francisco, and I went to San Francisco State, and that's where I got my degree. I have a master's degree in genetic botany, so I have two degrees. I have a BS in genetic botany with a master's, and I have a BA in economic geography. So so those are my degrees I got, and I'm not doing a damn thing with them. But I went to San Francisco State for my undergrad. I went to UNLV for my master's. Got a full ride for my master's. I think it was affirmative action because I was the only white kid in a program of 60 Asian kids. So I think, like, reverse affirmative action, it works for me. So yeah, I was getting my PhD in that. And then I had my PhD project it was just a simple farming project. I was growing two kinds of corn, cutting them off, and then grafting them to each other. So the top was growing with the roots of the bottom. Just simple farming. It's just simple, project. Well, in a long holiday weekend, somebody knocked the power out to a whole side of the room, and all of our projects died, and we failed. I could have taken the class again to finish, but they only offer it every 2 years because it's part of the PhD program. So like I'd have to wait 2 years to take it again to get my PhD. And that was the year. Yeah, and that was the year before Katrina. And there was hurricanes that year, and I fell into this thing where I was doing hurricane response for FEMA. And then I just started doing that, and I'd been going to school every, summer, spring, fall since I was 5. So I was like, I got my master's, I want to finish the PhD, but I kind of got that job, and I just went and helped people. I spent 6 months in the back of an ambulance communications vehicle, helping people get their lives back together. And I did so good with that job that the company hired me to do their tech stuff, to run their satellite stuff. They made me the director of sales. And then my dad, who also coincidentally, who actually, got me the job in the first place, he owned another satellite company that bought the company I worked for. Wow. So it was like reverse nepotism. I didn't. So then I became. I was just gonna
use that word.
Yeah. So then I became the VP of sales over there. And then we kind of that went for a while, and then we turned up to start a different company, and we kind of went a lot bigger and all that stuff. And then that tech company failed. So then I went to that failed tech company. I kind of went on my own because towards the end of the tech company, we started selling stuff online on eBay to try to keep the company running, surplus equipment, and I sold like $2 million of stuff on eBay. And I was like, well, all right, well, I'm not selling on eBay for myself. So I started selling on eBay and Amazon for myself.
Wow.
And I did that since like 2014, I want to say. And I was making 6 figures a year, but it's a lot of work. You get out what you put in. Then I started actually doing consulting for people to tell them how to set up their own online stuff. And it's much better to get paid to talk than to actually do the work. And I did that kind of up until the pandemic kind of shut everything down. And then Amazon started selling all my products. So I kind of lost my Amazon store, and just eBay, kind of went to the background. And then now I kind of am helping my brother out, family stuff, because he's opening an ice cream business here because he bought a whole franchise. So he's got to open a bunch of stores. And so I'm helping him with that. And I guess that gave you the whole timeline from high school to now. I know you just wanted high school, but I still kind of brought it all together.
So the ice cream store opened already?
2 weeks. I've been doing nothing but hiring people this week. I'm trying just to get people. We're hoping for the 17th is our opening day.
And tell everybody the address of it. So
It's Brewster's Real Ice Cream. It's 2862 South Durango Drive. It's on Durango, between Sahara and Desert Inn, right at the entrance to the lakes. Come on down. It's our first store. Got a double drive-through.
Wow, a double drive-through, and it's ice cream, strictly ice cream.
Straight ice cream. Ice cream only. Fresh made, small batch ice cream. It only lasts 6 days because of no preservatives. It's never frozen.
Are there dyes in it?
No. All natural.
I can eat it.
Yeah.
No dyes, no preservatives. I'll be there.
Yep. We got vegan options, no sugar options. We got everything. It's a good time.
Wow.
It's a good time.
What's the name of it again?
Brewster's Real Ice Cream. It's a franchise from back east. We just own the whole territory, so we have to open 5 stores in 7 years on top of our food trucks, catering, all the other stuff. I'm kind of doing the catering, outside sales. He's running the store. So
Jeez Louise.
Busy times.
So what in your life made you such a helper of other people? I was hosting one night and you were the most help to me, and you just kept helping and helping and helping. You're always saying nice things to people. You're always even keel. You're always friendly. You look people in the eye. You're such a great guy. What made you so great in your life, and what made you do comedy? I need both answers. Take your time.
Basically it's just, I kind of always been just good. Just be good to people. You know what I'm saying? It's too easy to be an asshole. If that makes sense. It's so easy for people to go negative on stuff. I've always been kind of a positive person. I've always been doing stuff. I've always been fun. I've always been happy. And I really think that, I part of the reason I left LA, besides the, 3 or 4 years ago when I left LA again, besides the extremely expensive rents,
Yeah.
was because I was in a 9-year relationship that basically kind of failed. So I kind of moved out of that relationship and I moved here to Vegas and just kind of got stuff together. And to be honest, she was a very negative, angry person. You know what I'm saying? And she cut out a lot of people from my life, my family, my friends, a lot of those different things. So it was and it was actually the comedian Brody Stevens. Did you ever hear Brody Stevens?
No.
Oh yeah, great guy, weird comedian. He was a comics comic. He was always around the Comedy Store. He had some mental health issues and stuff, but he was somebody everybody loved. If you have a chance, go look up his special on YouTube, any of his stuff. But his whole thing was positive energy. That was his whole.
Did you say Bernie or Birdie?
Brody.
Brody Stevens. Of course, I know that name.
Yeah. Stephen Brody Stevens. Yeah. He all about positive energy. That was his whole thing. And I met the guy a bunch of times. Like I said, I wouldn't say we were friends. I would say we were acquaintances.
Right.
I went to the Comedy Store. Because when I lived in LA, I lived in Santa Monica. I was so close to all the comedy stores. I went all the time. I love comedy. I'm pretty good friends with Ron Funches, another comedian. And when I first saw, I think it was his half-hour comedy special, really hit it off. And I started following on Twitter, and I would go to every one of his shows. I think I went to almost every one of his shows for a year. And I loved it because I watched his whole progression. Basically I watched him work on his act until he did his Giggle Fit TV special. So it was I watched the comedy progress, and I loved it. I just loved it. I would talk to him about it after the shows, oh, I loved how you rearranged this bit. I loved how you did this, and it was just, it was just kind of a fan thing. But then during the pandemic, he started streaming on Twitch. I showed up the first day, and and we just started hanging out, and like we're really good friends now. We talk. I mean, his wife complains I talk to him more than she does. So like we play games almost every day. We hang out all the time. It's just nice to have somebody that's that much of a veteran in comedy, just kind of helping, or just it's more just even just being able to talk about it with somebody at that level, just being able to get some stuff, or just moreover for having somebody at that level being able to bust your balls. But it
Yes.
was Brody Stevens. I mean, when he died, I just felt like it was like, because he was such a fixture. Like I mean, I remember seeing him, like he was such an acquired taste. He'd always go on last at the store. And I mean, I saw one set where he was up there for 25 minutes and he spent 10 minutes talking to the guy in the lights. He's like, "How you doing up there? Everything going good with you and the wife?" And like it was so hilarious, and just all the bits he did, and just like just the yes, and that whole like attitude, like I want to shop at Gelson's consistently, just like all of those, like I got an audition in Chatsworth on a yoga mat. I mean, I still like remember like all of these, just so many of these isms that he did. And I really felt like that was like something that was lost. And it was like, and that was the same time, I think, as Ron was doing his Getting Better podcast, which is all about, getting better and positive affirmations and all that stuff. And it was just like, I just felt like, yeah, this is, especially coming out of such a negative relationship, I was like, I'm going to be a better person. I'm going to build more positive relationships. I'm going to support people. And like, I'm going to do what I want to do. And like kind of got into comedy. And even like when I was first on the Vegas scene, I was still like a little bit arm's length from everybody. I was like still kind of the outside guy looking in. I didn't know any of these people. I'd come in, I'd do my sets, I'd leave, kind of thing. I just wasn't really sure where to find myself.
Mhm.
Um, but then kind of as like this pandemic happened and all that stuff, and then coming back out of it, starting to do more stuff. I mean, the first time I met you, Linda, was um Thanksgiving. It was the Thanksgiving show 2 years ago, at Rick's Roll and Smoke. It was a contest, and you went on last, and I went right before you did, and that was the first time I met you. And like that was kind of like where the first time I was like, this is kind of fun with to hang with all these comics and stuff.
I
And then
remember that.
yeah, and so then when I came back after the pandemic, I got my double vaxxed. I started doing those shows at the Artisan, those Trouble in Vegas ones, and I was really starting to get back into it, and I was just starting to meet, and really just trying with the comics this time, trying to meet other people and network and talk to people, and just realizing like, okay, I can be a part of this. I can be with these people. I can do all that stuff, and just trying to bring the positive energy, just trying to build these positive relationships, just trying to be a good person. And another friend of mine, that I met through Ron, is Kevin Gill, and he's the voice of independent wrestling. He does like all like that kind of wrestling stuff and everything. And he told me there's a concept in wrestling. It's called putting someone over. It's basically it's when the guy's on stage, he's doing his wrestling thing, and it's you selling what he's doing. It's you saying how good this guy is. Look at this great moves he's doing, see how athletic he is, and all that stuff. And moreover, it's the whole interview thing, that wrestling style interview of like, what are you doing now, champ? It's just putting people over. And like the thing he told me, and it really stuck with me, is putting people over is free. It costs you nothing.
Nothing.
It's as simple as just promoting them, talking about them, sending them a picture you took, doing a retweet, sending something out, just posting something, stuff that just costs you nothing, that people appreciate, and that you're helping to promote them. And it's just because a lot of people are just lazy or selfish or whatever, they just don't do it. And so that's just the philosophy I'm staying with, is just be good to everybody, be positive on stuff, and just keep being who you are. Like I mean, I've even heard some people telling me lately, some grumblings and haterations of people that like, oh, I don't like that Shinanigan, oh, I don't like him, he does this, he does that, like he's only ever here at Wise Guys, he's not at all these other mics and stuff. And I'm just like, it's just noise. I don't even think about it. It doesn't even bother me. And it's like if people are saying anything, it's like, oh, then I must be doing something right. Oh, I must be
Yeah.
doing good then, because people covet what they don't have. People are like, oh, he's, it's like, damn, that guy has good writing. He's shitty. It's like, oh, what I'm saying? It's always just it's so much easier to hate people and be jealous.
Yeah.
Like, why did he get booked over I didn't? Why did this person make the show and I didn't? And it's
Yeah.
like, with me, I don't care. I'm just easy. It's like, even today with this, we jumped around with the times and stuff and everything. I don't care. I'm easy. It's because it didn't really affect anything. It's just, I don't need, there's no need to have an attitude. There's no need to, it's just be easy, and it's easier. Like, oh, you want me on the show this weekend? No, okay, that's fine. I'll still be there. I'll go support.
Yeah, I didn't know if I was going to be able to even function until this month. And then along came somebody that gave me a couple big interviews, and I'm like, yeah, well, I wasn't going to go to them. They're not going to wait. So, okay, and here I am doing it really before I feel that great.
Mm-hmm. But you're doing great. You look great. I mean, you're still the same old Linda in my mind. You're still, I love you. So it's I'm just happy I could do this.
I gotta say, wherever you're at, like you are a state. I don't know why this has to make noise. Whenever I come in the club, you're the person who makes me feel like USA. Like you make me feel grounded. You make me feel welcome. And so what you were saying about wanting to do good and it doesn't cost anything. Like I've always been the one, like when I was in the Portland comedy scene and in New York, I was always the one trying to give to the other comics, make them feel welcome and all that stuff. And then I come into Wise Guys and you're miles ahead of doing that for people than I've ever been. And it's so nice to see that you're a young person, I'm not. It's nice to see young people with old souls, as I would call it, because it's an old soul kind of thing. I know the young people really care and don't like to hurt other people's feelings, but you're even more than not wanting to hurt. You're trying to leave people better off than they came in.
Well, I'm maybe a little younger than you, Linda, but like I'm in my 40s, so for comedy wise, it's late starting this game. You know what I'm saying? It's a young man's game, which is why I feel like I have to be better. I have to be more prepared. I have to have an act. I mean, like the first time from my first open mic to now, I never don't have an act when I go up there. I think I did 2 sets in December where I riffed a little bit, but I never take notes on stage. I never look at my phone. I'm already prepared before I got up there. I know what I'm going to do. I know the time I got to be in. I don't need a light because I know when my joke ends.
When you're performing at a mic, it doesn't, it feels like I'm watching a mic, one comic after another doing a mic set. But when you get up there, it doesn't feel like I'm at a mic anymore. You've transported me into a show. I'm at the Brian Shinanigan show when you're up there. Have people told you that?
Yeah, actually, the first, I think it was the first or second week I was there. There was the girl that worked the desk there. Amber was there for the first couple months. She's great.
I love her.
She basically said like because I showed up the first Tuesday Wise Guys ever had a mic, and I've only missed one mic in the entire time they've been open. This will be 18 weeks now. Not that I'm counting, but I'm counting. And she said like that first night, she was like, man, because I remember that first night, it was a mixed bag. There was some train wrecks, there was a bit of everything. And she was like, man, I was really worried how this was going to be. And then she said, then you got up there, and I was like, oh, okay, thank God we have a regular comic. Thank God we have a real comic here. And I was like, that was such a good, like feeling of saying that. Is like I was like, okay, that just was like more validation that all right, I'm doing this right. I'm doing this. And then Rodney Norman, who was kind of opened the club in that first month. I would call him, like I said, I only knew the guy for like 4 or 5 weeks, the time he was at the club. I think he was there 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And I still consider him like a comedy mentor because the way he talked to me every time, the way he encouraged stuff, that just he said even in the time he'd been there from the first mic I was at to like, that towards the end of time when he let me host, he's like, I've seen so much improvement in you and stuff. And then I heard later when he came, God, it was like December. When he came back in December, he just did a pop in. He just came through on his way from LA to Utah for a show. And I was like, oh man, I'm so glad to see you and all that stuff. And he's like, yeah, man, when I went back to Utah and told Keith, like, here's the list of people that you should kind of watch out for, these local guys and stuff. He's like, you were number one on that list. And just for him to say that to me, like, it was just like, it's like I said, you can't have an ego in this game because that's where you fall down. But it was still just like, okay, it's more like validation. Like, I'm doing this right. Okay, I'm doing this right. And every time I get called in to do a guest set or whatever, I'm doing this right. Like when Heath Harmison was there, and I went to the Friday show, he's like, "Oh man, do you want to do 10 minutes tomorrow?" And like I was like, "Yes!" Like, and he put me on, and that was, I think, the best set I ever had in my career. That's my tape. The tape I put out right now for bookers is that show. I mean, that was so, and he put me on, and it was just like, and he afterwards he talked to me for like half hour, 45 minutes. He's like, "Man, get that clean hour. I can get you in cruise ships." Like, we were just, it was talking to me like a peer. And like that, and I when I came home that night, I got in the chat with when we were playing games with Carmen and Ron, and I told them, I'm like, you guys, like, tonight was the first night I feel like a real comedian, like, and I put on my vision board last year that I want to get paid for comedy, and I got paid for comedy. I also put on my vision board I want to do 100 shows, and I only got 68. I was like, oh, if I could have just got that 69th, I was trying. But I mean, it's, but I still accomplished that. I started my podcast with my friends, like we're doing this ice cream business. I'm in a good relationship that's functional, and she's also doing comedy. She started doing her thing too. So, she's been doing mics for a few months now and is getting her chops. She's already hosted at Wise Guys on the open mic nights. So, and she got paid to do comedy in her first couple of months, and that was one of my goals, and it took me 3 years to get paid for comedy, and she got in the first 3 months. But whatever. This road ain't the same for everybody. You know what I'm saying? And I can't be jealous of other people. I can't worry about it. I just got to keep pushing and doing my thing, and and being an advocate for myself, being my own agent, and being positive, and just things are gonna come.
Yeah, they are. Well, what is on your vision board for the rest of your life, in comedy and outside of?
Well, I mean, I mean, I can give you some highlights from this year. My board, just kind of just maintaining. I put it's right on my board. Positive energy. Like, you want me to get my board? I can show you my board.
Yeah, let's see.
I'll run and get it. Yeah, I'll run and get it. I'll be right back.
All right.
I'll show my board.
I'll sit here and try to figure out what's on your mantle. So he's got a bowling pin, pictures. Looks like a pineapple on the right, a clock. There's a clock up there, a tape or a book, a couple tapes, pictures. Is there a doll up there?
Are you seeing in the back here? Yes. So this is my LA skyline here. I got a nice, it's a etched marble slab. This from when I did a celebrity pro-am for bowling. That's the Conan O'Brien Pop I won from the Conan show thing I did. A bunch of stuff from games. Those two bottles are bottles of sake they only made 1,000 of, and they only made it for a competition. And I got 2 of them. That's my first ever Pong. It's the first video game system I ever owned, and it still works. And just that's like from Circus when I was a kid. It's just a lot of stuff. There's my protein chips in the back. Don't notice those.
Protein chips.
But yeah, so this is my vision board.
Okay.
So you can see it's got comedy, work, life, and health on it. So it's like my comedy stuff. Like I said, I want to get more paid gigs. I want to get better at social media. Do my website, which is up now. Being my own agent. Get 60 minutes of worked material. I worked over an hour and a half, but I only got 45 minutes of good out of that hour and a half. I'm trying to do another 100 shows this year, work more with people I love. I still want to get a strip show just to go do one, just for work stuff, just to help the family business out, this work-life separation. I really want to go back to Hawaii. But see, down here is, positive energy, build positive relationships. That's life goals. Keep enjoying yourself. That's right down here on the bottom. It's real big. Keep enjoying yourself, because I think that's what a lot of people just, and a vision board. See, so exercise. I want to get down to 300, lift daily, work out more, and stay safe and healthy. So it's just train my dog better. My dog Lando, train him better. So yeah, I mean, so it's just a vision board. Like I started doing with Ron, and like it's very helpful. I have it up in my room, so I see it every day. And some people think it's cheesy or it's stupid, but it's just I knocked a lot of stuff off my vision board last year, and it was my pleasure to take a Sharpie and cross it out because it happened. And it's just it's not, like I said, it's not a wish list. It's not like, it's just like goals that you want to try to do throughout the year. And I think a lot of those goals are my life goals. And it's just the same stuff for my year goal as my overall goal. Get more gigs, do more stuff, get paid to do comedy. I'd love to flip back over and do this full time. Even to get more.
Let's say you get to the point where you're so profitable in comedy that you can give back in some way. What way do you want to give back in life or in comedy?
Well, I mean, I think it's just helping other people. Like I said, I think putting other people over. If I get to the point where I'm big enough, I want to do what other people did for me. I want to give other people stage time. I want to get other people paid to do comedy. You know what I'm saying? Like if I can have a good enough show where I'm getting paid enough, and they're like, oh, we got these other 3 guys, but they ain't getting paid nothing. I'm like, no, let me spread the money around. Let me get them, get that milestone for them getting paid in comedy. It's just, I think it's just, my whole thing is to help people. And also it's one of those things, I think people underestimate that a lot of people just like, oh, I can give money to somebody, I can give whatever. Time is your most precious resource. Like if anybody ever like Panda Express, they're like, if you want to round up 55 cents to donate for children's charities, and I'm like, no, I donate time, because that 55 cents just means a refund for a corporation. But for me, if I go give an hour of time to that children's charity or whatever, that's more important. So that's the same for everything. Especially with everything I'm doing right now, comedy, starting this business, still keeping my side eBay business going, maintaining a functional relationship, all of these things, there's just not enough hours in the day. So time is a precious resource. And like when you're younger, you seems like you have all the time in the world. And like you get to a certain point, and like now, especially now in the weird times we're in, where time has no meaning, you know what I'm saying? Like 2 years ago, I was like, oh, what's today? It's Tuesday the 25th, and it's like now it's just like, what's today? Where am I? Like it's just like time has no meaning almost now. So it's like so the time is the most precious resource. So that's the best thing I can give for you. Oh, Ron's hitting me up the game. You see how that works? I'm on the text chain.
Tell people what your favorite game is.
Right now, or in general. I mean, I guess right. I'll just tell you what we're playing right now.
Some of your favorite games.
Yeah. So, but right now, I'm always been a Call of Duty fan. When I was a teenager, I used to play tournaments for games. My dad, when he was a kid, he played pinball tournaments. So when like I said, I have a first edition Pong for a reason, because we had every video game system that ever existed in my house.
Wow.
And I played video game tournaments. I actually won a lot of video game tournaments. That's actually how I paid for some of my college, was those video game tournaments. So I've always been a gamer, and also I actually have a bit about this, because at a certain point I knew I couldn't do regular sports anymore. I knew that was going to be over for me. I knew all that stuff. So, I put all my training in here, into these hands, these deadly hands. So it's, I like to play games, and honestly, it's fun for me to beat people online. It's fun to kill America. And I just like to do it. I mean, I crushed a guy last night with a helicopter, and he told me to go F myself, and I've never been happier. I'm just saying. So it's, but lately, I mean, we've been playing a lot of Call of Duty lately, Halo, Overcooked 2, which is a cooking game, which is fun, and Knockout City, which is a dodgeball game. It's just a lot of stuff is just, what we're playing with as friends. A lot of these games are free. We play a lot of times, it's just all stuff we can play together. Groups of us get together, we play at night. It's just friends. It's a hang.
Do you
know what I'm saying?
Do it on Twitch?
Yeah, because Ron streams on Twitch. I kind of did Twitch for a second, but it was too much to maintain. It wasn't what I was into. So I just enjoy playing with Ron on Twitch. So yeah, twitch.tv/Ron_Funches if you want to come play. If you ever see Ron streaming, there's a 90% chance I'm playing with him. So,
Wow.
and usually me and Carmen and, some of our other friends and stuff, but it's, the people I do the podcast are from the Funch Bunch. That's what we call the group of Ron's people is the Funch Bunch. And a bunch of the people I do the podcast with are from there. Honestly, being friends with Ron and that Funch Bunch, saved me during the pandemic.
Yeah.
It gave me that outlet. It gave us something. We built a community, positive people. Everybody in that group is positive, lots of positive energy. Everybody helps everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like with my overlays, with my friend helped me build the website. It was a friend from the Funch Bunch, and it's just good people, and good people attract good people. And we've had some bad people, but they don't stay around long because there's nothing for them there. So, but in these couple of years with Ron and this Funch Bunch, we built a great community of people, and that's what's got me through. And it's nice to be able to have those friends to talk to every day. I mean, I talk to Ron, I talk to Carmen almost every day. I mean, I played games with Jackie a couple times in last year, she played dodgeball and stuff. And it's just fun to be with these people. Jeremiah Watkins, we played with him sometimes with Eric Griffin. Just a bunch of different people. It's just fun they get just rotating with us. Oh, even Maria Bamford came to the Vision Party. That was fun.
Oh yeah, I saw you post about that.
So it's like I said.
Tell people about your podcast. What's the name, the premise? How often do you put material out there, content?
It's called Edging the Truth. We take you to the edge of truth, but no further. And it's a podcast about like ghosts, conspiracy theories, just that kind of stuff that we like to talk to. It's a bi-weekly podcast. We're up to 6 episodes. We're also talking about doing some live episodes and stuff like that. But it's like so far we've talked about ghosts, demons, exorcisms, just a lot of fun different topics. Bigfoot, because I'm very anti-Bigfoot until I realized that Bigfoot might be an alien. But you got to watch the podcast to find that out. Yeah, so it's just fun. It's fun with us, and we because everybody loves conspiracy theories, and we always gibber about them. It's a lot of stuff we talked about, online. That we're like, well, why aren't we just putting this together and having this podcast? So it's real fun to do. We're just getting going on it. We have a phone number you can call if you want to leave comments or anything like that. Yeah, just go. We got a website. Just go to edgingthetruth.com and you can have all your clicks and everything's right there. But even with that, it's full professional. We bought the website. We built all the domains. There's 4 of us promoting it. Doing all these different sections of social media and all that stuff, and it's just doing something with my friends, and like that's what's really fun. And I think that's if you're not having fun doing a podcast and you're just doing one for the sake of doing it, then whatever, and
get out of the way.
And that's and like I said, I didn't intend to do this podcast. We just kind of fell into it, and man, it's just been such a blast, and I really love it.
That's so cool. So what would you like to tell people? You've been through your first pandemic. You now are in a good relationship. You were in a bad one. What things have you seen in comedy? Maybe tips for younger comics than you, do's and don'ts, and how to be a better person coming out of a pandemic. Do you want to give advice?
Yeah. Number one, just don't be a dick. Okay, like it's too easy to be a dick. It's too easy to say no to people. It's just too easy to have your blinders on and get so caught up in your own life. Like, just think about other people for a minute. For young comics, write something and write it down. I mean, it's just write it down and then write it down again. People just do not underestimate the power of writing and writing it down. Because even when I do a joke that I've already done and written, I will go back and I will transcribe my joke from the tape. I'm doing it so I can put subtitles on my tape, so that's a twofer right there. But B, it's because it locks it in more. It's like I'll go do a bit for the first time, record everything too. I will go do a bit for the first time. I will come home. I will listen to that bit probably 25 to 30 times that night. I'll probably rewrite it down, but I will listen to that bit, eat good, bad, or indifferent. And trust me, the hardest thing you can do is listen to a shitty bit 25 times. It's horrible, but like it also locks it into your brain so that you got your wording, so you got that stuff down, so you got it, so it's becomes second nature, and you don't even think of like, well, how did that bit go again? It's you just know it. So yeah, it's right, 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 right. Do not have an ego about your writing. If somebody gives you a good tag, just be like, screw you. Like I don't, I do my own stuff. Like I think that was something when we did that Bob Zaney show, because Parker was the host, Parker Tig. And it's a young guy, he's doing a lot of stuff. He's doing great stuff right now. He won this comedy competition this week. I love that guy. But the funniest thing to me was when he was telling Bob Zaney, he's like, "Oh yeah, I did this show across from a prison. And this guy came over from the prison, and he was like, and he saw the show, and then Bob Zaney went, yeah, and then he hated it so much he went back to prison. He went like, there, you can use that, And then Parker went to Bob. He's like, oh no, I write all my own stuff. And then Bob was like, yeah, that's the attitude. Never take help from anybody in comedy. I don't think Parker realized it at the time, but God, that was like, and I'm over here in the corner just dying laughing because I'm like, bro, you just got fucking burned by a pro. Like, and it's just like, just take that help. People come up to me after I do a set and be like, hey, I think this would be a good tag for you. I write them down. I always write them down. I don't say, oh, okay, thanks. I say, hold on, wait here. Let me write this down to make sure I got what you said, because it might be good. If somebody's going to give me free comedy, I'm not going to say no. I don't, like I said, I don't have an ego about it. I don't have an ego that I'm the best writer since, Socrates. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not I'm not a prophet. I'm not poet. It's just and if you're not used to doing writes and rewrites or having somebody tell you to rewrite stuff, you ain't never going to make it in this business. Never. You are never going to write for TV. You're never going to do any of that stuff. I mean, I know so many people that wrote phenomenal, beautiful shows, did treatments and stuff. Because like I said, I've written a bunch of scripts and done a lot of that stuff myself. And when they actually get the show made, all of them get stripped out of it. And it's like, hey, if you want that show made though, bro, don't have an ego. You go do that show, get that freaking check in your pocket. Even though they stripped all the you out of it, take the money. That's the job. That's the job. So it's like, you got to kind of check that ego at the door. And a lot of people that if you have that ego and stuff and you're hard to work with and you're not willing to be flexible, you're just not going to get the work. And I'm not saying that you're not going to make it. I'm not saying that everybody has their own path. Everybody knocks clean comedians, but hey, clean comedians get work. They do corporate gigs. People know they're safe. They can do that stuff. Am I saying there's no path for a dirty comedian to make good money? No, there's not. But just know it's a harder path. And if you can toe that TV clean line where you're a little bit dirty, you can still get a ton of work. But if you use swear words as a comma, just know it's going to take some time for you to get where you need to be, and but it's just, don't shut yourself off to comedy. Be open to stuff, be open to trying new ideas. You don't do voices, try voices. You don't do character work, do character work. You're not comfortable doing certain situations, we'll go do it because you got to try it. Yeah. And you got to do every show.
Try some act outs, try impersonations, try working with the audience, try all those things. Anything.
All those things. But the point is, if you ever feel like that you're like settled in and you're too comfortable, check yourself because you're doing it wrong. I went on Tuesday. I ate a dick hard on Tuesday. I had a horrible. I was trying a bunch of new concepts, nothing worked.
Aww.
Whatever. The point is, I came home, I still listened to that stuff, I still rewrote it, and I'm still moving on, because if you don't go up and fail, then you're not doing it right. I think it goes back because because I'm a poker player too. I played some pro poker back in the day as well. And that was one of those things, the sayings from poker is, if you don't throw away a winner, you play too many hands. So that's that kind of thing, is just like, sometimes you just gotta, let some stuff go on to the next thing, or moreover, I guess you just gotta play another hand. You just gotta go on. You just gotta do the next set. You gotta rewrite that. You gotta throw out that joke, or just shelve it to when you're a better comedian, you can come back and make something work with it. So, but you also have the ego to just not keep. I've seen these guys that come up to the same mic over and over again doing the same joke that doesn't work, expecting a different result. And it's, like come on, bro, come on. Like, you got to just be willing to move on.
Yeah.
And like I said, like Bob Zaney, 44 years in comedy, he forgot more than I know. You know what I'm saying? Like, you
Yeah.
think he's still busting out jokes he did in the 70s, 80s? No.
Have you looked at the list of places where he's performed?
Yeah, everywhere. I mean,
The
everywhere.
Jerry Lewis telethon.
Yeah. He was on freaking Dangerfields. Was his one of his early things, like, just and that's something to go back to the Comedy Store too. Argus Hamilton, fixture of the Comedy Store, veteran comic, still does freaking, in his old man, still doing the 3-piece suit stuff. Just watching him, he still does jokes he did in the 70s. They still work. But it's, but I feel like, but it's not like he's only doing those jokes. He still has 40 years of an act. He still does a lot of the what's in the news today jokes. He's still doing current stuff, but he's
That's
still
like
got
Bob
that
Zaney too.
Yeah, but he's still got that old school feel. He's still got that stuff. He still has, the jokes that work, but he's still out there trying and hustling. And I think those people that have been in comedy 40 plus years, that have been through every generation of comedy, from the Dangerfield to the comic relief generation, to the to the 2000s of the wackiness, to the now, to the Chappelle Show, Key and Peele years, to now, to where comedy has evolved, and they're still out there on being road dogs. They're still out there grinding. It's just like, pray you have that kind of longevity in comedy, because for every one of those, there's a ton of other comics that's whatever happened to them, and they just gone.
Right.
So
what do you think it takes? What is the number one or top 3 things it takes to make it in the business?
Attitude.
Mm-hmm.
People only like to work with people that they want to work with. If you have a bad attitude, nobody wants to work with you. Like I said, prior preparation. Be prepared.
Yeah.
Have your stuff together. Have your bookings together. Have your travel stuff together. Know how to travel. I mean, a lot of these comics just hop in the car and go. And I'm like, that's a way to get there. But, like, some other ways are different. And moreover, to go along those things, plan your route, plan your year. Don't do a club on one side of the state, another club on the other side of the state, and then book your next gig back on the other side of the state. Book them in a line, so you just go right through the end. I mean, and that goes, like, because that's for me in the trade show days too. It's like, book your stuff in order, be prepared, and I think the most key thing is treat it seriously, treat it like a business. I think that's my number one thing. That's if you want me to not like you as a comic, there's one thing you can do. Don't respect the comedy. Don't respect this craft. Don't respect the grinding and all that stuff. I mean, I think a lot of times today, especially, it goes back to the jealousy thing. Somebody gets a viral video or is a YouTube star or whatever, and all of a sudden they got a half-hour special on Netflix or an hour special on Netflix that's mediocre at best. And everybody's like, God, they got paid millions of dollars to do this. And it's just the jealousy. And it's like, you know what? It's just, they were, they were in the right place at the right time, all that stuff. But in the end, that person won't have a second special. That person won't have another thing next year. That person's the flash in the pan and gone, because they don't respect the comedy. And you have to respect the comedy. This is a craft. It is a thing. And you see it at all these open mics where everybody's like, I can get up there and do this, or like, I'm just going to go up and wing it. And then it's 45 seconds in, they're like, well, there's still 2 minutes left, and it's like, or they just get up there and just waffle or whatever, or just get the hell off. But the thing is, it's just, or the people are like, I'm so funny, I can be up there. I can kill. And it's like, well, what jokes are you going to tell? It doesn't matter. I'm funny. And it's just like, yeah, but and that's what gets me, is just, they don't respect the comedy. I give it up for the people that took a class and do that stuff. A lot of people look down on those people that take comedy classes. Well, they're trying to learn it right and respect the comedy.
That's
They're
right.
at least trying to learn the fundamentals, the rules, and all that stuff. They're just not going up there and just being F this, buck, bar, 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 I'm on Tinder, like, what about airplanes, huh? Like, have you seen this? Have you heard about this? Like, it's just that those kind of things. It's just, and that's my biggest thing is like, if you're a good comedian and I see you doing the work and I like you and I know you're funny. I mean, like I said, some of these open micers, they come for one time. Like there was this Korean guy that came a couple weeks ago, He was just from out of town. He just hopped on the mic. But I told him after, I'm like, bro, like you got something there. You had material. He's like, oh, I was just doing it for fun. I'm like, but you had something. You could do this. And it's just that little bit of encouragement for a guy it was a throwaway night in Vegas for him that maybe he'll actually do something. Because I felt like
I saw you go do that after somebody else was up on stage and they didn't have a very good set, but you went up and you came back and told me, it was the night I was hosting, and you came up and told me that you told them that that's the best you've ever seen them do.
oh, that was Vancy Poo. That was Vancy Poo.
I don't know who Vancy Poo is, but boy,
He always
the
looks
little guy.
He always looks borderline homeless.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's always at the end because it's a mixed bag when he gets up there. But I mean, like I said, that was the best that he's ever done, and I feel like a lot of people shit on that guy. And yeah, it's like, is he my favorite comedian? No. Is he a lot of his stuff my cup of tea? No. Do I think he needs a lot better writing or to actually write? Yes. But when somebody actually does good and he's there week in, week out grinding, I gotta give him something. I gotta give him, because he's respecting the comedy. He's doing the craft. He's putting in the work. There's a lot of people that aren't that good that are still there week in, week out. But then there's these young guys like Mario Sanchez and like Gizmo who showed up day one at the Comedy Store at the Wise Guys to start doing their thing, and now they've progressed so much in these months because they're doing every mic and because they're putting the work, and because I talked to them about comedy. They asked me about writing. They asked me about this stuff, and because I can see them actually doing comedy fundamentals. Sam Lundstedt, even, that's a guy I think that's been around for quite a while that is finally coming into his own because he's finally getting some confidence on stuff, and I send him resources. I send him to places for writing and things like that. And it's just, I just want to help people get better, especially people that are doing good, that respect the comedy. And that's just it. Just respect the comedy. Like I said,
Sam is a great guy.
Yeah. And
Mario Sanchez, he's also, I don't know the other gentleman, but definitely, when they're good people and they're really trying hard, respecting the craft and doing the work, you do want to help them. And when they don't have any ego in the game, then you're willing to give them an idea or two,
Well, and I want to support the people I love, like Conan. I love Conan. Penny Prince, Ty Rivera. I mean, it's just all these people. They're comics that I love and all that, especially Ty Rivera. A lot of people don't like Ty. But I don't have a problem. I love Ty. I love Ty because people don't like Ty. You know what I'm saying? I love Ty because he is, just like his podcast says, he's unapologetic. And I respect that. I respect the fuck out of that because he knows who he is and he's true to himself. And if you're an idiot or you're whatever, he will tell you to your face. But also, because I respect that too. If you're doing bad or good, he'll tell you. And some people just can't take the constructive criticism or anything. But like I said, all of these people like Jay Rivera. I mean, there's all these people like Ty put out his top 5 comedians to watch, and every single one of these people are people I love. And like I said, just support the people you love, put them over. It doesn't cost you nothing. Just support people. I mean, like I said, I love all these people. I made a picture drive for the Las Vegas community. I've been a little behind on it, but I'm about to push it out to everybody with all the links because I take pictures of all these shows, and I'm just basically going to push out this drive to all the comedians just so they have a place they can download their pictures, upload other pictures they want, send bookers there to get headshots, just send the link, and it costs me nothing to do it but time, but that's just one thing I want to do to help support the people I love, and if I do not take pictures of you at comedy, either I forgot or I'll just be blunt. I just don't think you're that good. I said it. Okay. Just because I put over the people that I like and I love and I feel like are going somewhere on stuff, and especially people that are positive. If you're just up there yelling about boy hole or all these kind of things. Like that's not my, that's not my cup of tea. That's not my, thing. Like it's, you do your thing, bro, and I support you as a comedian, but like I'm not gonna put you over like some of these other people where I'm like, I know they're going somewhere. Like Penny Prince, I know he's going somewhere. Ty Rivera, he's already been somewhere. I wish I could be there. Like it's, these are all people that I look up to on stuff, but I mean, I respect the hell out of a lot of like Donna Joy, a lot of these people, Ricky Jay, a lot of these people that have, just been doing it for a while or just freshly doing it, at frankly at their age. It's just like but they respect the craft, and I respect the hell out of people like that. And I feel like some people, comedy, there's a lot of hateration. There's a lot of smile at your face and stab you in the back kind of thing, and it's just unnecessary. Everybody has their own thing. Is Donna Joy everybody's cup of tea? No, but you got to respect that she's doing her thing. She's out there making it happen. Like
She knows who
you
she
can't fault
is.
people. Yeah, she knows who she is, and I think that's really
Stays
it.
in
And
her lane.
a lot of these young comedians don't know who the hell they are, and they're just trying to be
I've seen
too
Donna
edgy.
Joy. Donna Joy is the person that edifies other people. She's always looking to find something good to say to everybody. She's not one of those,
No,
and I've never heard
she's a wonderful person.
she never says anything bad
Yeah,
to
because she doesn't need
me
to.
about anybody else.
Even if she thinks it, she keeps it inside. But the last main tip I will give, and this is the biggest comedy tip I need to give for anybody: don't freaking drink so much. Okay? Don't drink so much. Don't drink in excess before your set. Don't drink in excess after your set. Don't feel like if you have a free tab at the comedy club that you have to max that shit out. Like it's this, the drinking has taken down more comics than anything else. I mean, to excess. And a lot of people,
and a lot of people throw in drugs.
Yeah, drugs stack on top of drinking, but drinking is the party gateway. We're all there drinking, so let's do some drugs too. But it's always the drinking. I'm not a big drinker. Like I said, I come from a family of drinking, and like I smoke. That's kind of my vice because it helps with my anxiety and stuff. That's my thing. I'm just not a big drinker though. But I think that's also what I'm criticized for with a lot of people, is because I don't hang out after. I don't hang out and drink after. I'm not out. I'm not a part of these we're out till 2 or 3 in the morning stories, and you'll never believe what happened. Or, oh, we were out in the middle of nowhere, and you can't believe what happened. We were all drunk. And I just don't have those stories, because frankly, I just don't want those stories.
Nobody invites me, nobody wants a 70-year-old grandma that looks like a narc, undercover cop from the 70s.
But it's like, but in the end, it's just, like, I don't mind the hang and stuff. I'll go and hang out for a bit. But when the hang just turns into like drunken, whatever, I'm good, But the point is the people, they end up in a drunken whatever 7 days a week. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you wake up and you're an alcoholic, and like, you just can't hang. You end up losing gigs, or you end up doing sloppy gigs, or you end up that kind of stuff. So if there's just one thing I could say is, this comedy life is a late night life. The alcohol is always there in every club. It's a 2-drink minimum at most places. Like, and a lot of times your gig is you're getting paid in liquor. Even, I mean, that's a thing. That is a thing. So it's just, I mean, like I said, just moderate yourself, because it's a long game. It's a long game, and doing that, going on the road for 6 weeks and drinking that whole time for 6 weeks, you're gonna run yourself into the ground. So that's it, right? Be good to people, and just don't drink too much. Like me, I smoke. I never smoke before I do a set. I never. I immediately after the set, I'm like, oh, thank God, I can finally chill out, because if I don't smoke after a set, I will be up till 4 a.m. because of the adrenaline. But I never before, because like I need to be there. And some people feel like they need to loosen themselves up. Like, I need to just have a drink to go on. Like, fine, if you feel like you gotta get a little loose, fine. But don't get 4 maker's marks in and go try to do your set. So, and some people are gonna disagree with me. They're gonna be, like, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about, whatever. He has not been in the game so long. But I'm a grown ass man. I see stuff, like, it's whatever. Like I said, and it's my opinion. That's the best part about America. Everybody has their own opinion. this is how I live my lifestyle. You do you, I'll do me, and it just is what it is. But I'm not going to let what you do affect me, because I'm just going to live my life, and I'm just trying to get over here. I'm just trying to be
Yes.
positive and be a good person and overcome my own anxiety, my own demons, maintain a functional relationship, and just be a good person to good people. And like I said, if you're a good person, you do good things. Good things will happen to you.
That's right. That's right. It comes back to you. I've gotten to the place in my life that whatever good I'm doing for people, if that brings good back to me, then I want it. But you have to also be careful. The good that you're receiving, it can come from a bad place. It doesn't always come from good sources.
It's got to be the right kind of good.
You know what
It's
I'm
got to be the
talking
right kind of. I know exactly what you're talking about. You know, it's it's I mean, I hate to be kind of like crass about it, but it's like being like booked as an opener for Louis C.K. right now, or
Yeah.
being like a booked as an opener like for Chris D'Elia or somebody. It's just like some of these guys that are kind of a little on the outs of comedy. It's just like, well, that's great. It's good. I got booked. On the flip side, it's like, oh, then it's all the other stuff that comes with this booking. You know what I'm saying? So but it's like, yeah, I mean, like I say, it might be a little, too base and crass, but I mean, that's an example of the good being bad, you
Yeah.
know? So,
That It is. Yeah, I want to do good for people. I want to leave people better off than they were. And you're out of the same mold I am. And I think that's why I loved you from the get-go.
I thought it was because I was so sexy, but I guess
That too,
whatever.
but I didn't know that I should say that on your show.
Oh yeah,
Oh, wait,
yeah.
this is my show.
I'm not supposed to say that out loud. I'm sorry. Sorry. Yeah, and you just why did you hand your show to me, Linda? I'm on your show. I'm happy to be doing your show, Linda. I was excited for this. I was very happy to do this. Like I said, you're one of my favorite people, and
You're one of mine.
thank you for letting me be on the show, especially to follow a great like Jackie Cation. Which, like I said, it's ironic. Like in the last like month, I've like seen / hung out with her like 5 or 6 times. It just proves that, and I guess that goes to just one final thing I didn't even think of is comedy is a big small community. Once you get to a certain level, you hear the same names, you hear all this stuff. It's like it's just like, oh, I know that person, I've worked with them. Oh, I know that person, I've worked with them. So just be cognizant of that once you get to a certain level, it's a big little community and people know you and you will get a reputation one way or the other. So just make sure it's one you're happy with. I'll take the reputation of, oh, he's always overprepared, he's always all this, he's always too nice, he only goes to the club where there's people. Okay, fine. Sorry. So I don't go to the the restaurant where nobody's paying attention to comedy. So I don't go to the place where I get interrupted by a slot machine in the middle of my set. Like, okay, do I look down on the people that go to those places? No. It's just not where I think I'm going to get what I need to get where I need to for comedy. I don't think I'm going to find my voice, at that bar at midnight. Like, I don't think that's where I'm going to get over in comedy. If I needed the stage time, yeah. But like I said, I've had lots of stage time in my life. It was hosting, it was doing other stuff. But I mean, I was hosting events for 10,000 people at trade shows. Getting up there. I mean, like I said, I've done stuff where I had to talk to 10,000 people.
Jeez.
Did it? It was nothing. It's nothing.
The largest group I ever did was 1,000 veterans at 7 a.m. on it. The dew was still coming down.
Oh,
in a parking lot.
That's a tough crowd. 1,000 veterans in the morning. Oh, because nothing says comedy like morning. Comedy's a big time morning, bright lights, open air thing. That's right. When I think about every comedy club I've been to, I always went there in the morning. It was always bright. Yeah, But but yeah, I mean, I've done those big rooms, and I even when I did those, I was never nervous because it wasn't. I was just going up and doing a presentation. I would say a couple of funny quips or do whatever, but like it was still nothing to me. So it's like, I kind of already have my stage presence. I feel like with my writing, I've already kind of somewhat found a little bit of my voice. I'm still working on it. I'm still trying to put more of me into my act, but I feel like I'm a lot further than some of these people that I maybe just don't necessarily need some of these 5-minute sets at some of these places.
Yeah.
I've done them. I've done most of these places a couple of times here, there, but and like the dive bar. Like I love Randall. He's one of my favorite people.
Me too.
But like I fucking can't stand the dive bar. I mean, that's, you've heard me swear very little in this thing, except for like when I'm referencing this dive bar, because I just, it's, the cigarettes hit you in the face. I'm allergic to nicotine, so it's hard for me to be in those kind of bars because it just chokes me up the longer I'm in there.
Yeah.
And you go up and nobody, I think I did the dive bar when you were there, even Linda. I think I did a dive bar when you were there one day. It's just, you don't get anything out of it. You're talking to nobody but backs. It's like I'm doing a 5-minute set, and it's like I'm kind of working on my cadence and that kind of stuff. But it's in the end like, God, what am I doing from this that I couldn't be getting at home with my microphone set up standing there?
Exactly.
Or even doing a Zoom show. I'd rather do a Zoom show than a dive bar. I'd rather talk to muted faces that are actually looking at me than backs. Okay,
Zoom comedy is like so cool because you can go, like, seriously, you should really think about that.
Yeah, and you can play into it, and it's a different animal. And a lot of people don't embrace what it is and don't realize that, guess what? Zoom comedy leads to real comedy because you meet these other comedians that do shows, because you're networking, because you run into people, and you guys all talk in the green room before the Zoom green room, and then you talk in the Zoom green room after of like, well, that was a train wreck or whatever, and you kind of bond over that shared experience. It's the same thing you're kind of getting in the club. It's just you didn't have to leave your house.
Yeah.
But it's, and like I said, so it's, everybody has their own path, and I don't think anybody should poop on anybody else's path. Don't, exactly. Ron says this, and it's true. Don't yuck someone else's yum. Okay?
I like that.
If you don't like anchovies, don't look down on the person that likes anchovies. You don't like mushrooms, don't look down on the person that likes mushrooms. I mean, it's just, why? Be like, oh, I don't like Pop-Tarts. Okay, I love Pop-Tarts. Whatever. It's like, don't put your negative, your hang-ups on top of somebody else's thing. That's, some of the stuff I'm saying is a little generic and a little cheesy, but like,
no, it's not. It needs to be said.
A lot of these things are old adages for a reason, because they're timeless. They're good things. They're just be a good person, just be positive, just don't shit on people even if you don't like them, but also don't be super catty where you like say like great set and then turn to the guy and they're like, that was fucking shit. It's like, just say like, let's just say good job and then turn to the guy and say that was shit, but it's still just, like I said, don't, there's no reason to stab people in the back and backstabbing. And even I feel like before the pandemic, the Vegas comedy scene was a little toxic. And now I feel that we do have the Wise Guys Club, that so many more mics came out after the pandemic. So many more people ran their own mics or doing more stuff. Tabloid, all these great people that are out there doing mics. And I think I think we came out of the pandemic a little more realizing what we lost, and that we should be a little more positive. We should help everybody out. And like, I like how the community is right now. I like where it is. Is there still some toxicity? Is there still some stuff? Yeah, they're always going to be. But I feel like the core, I feel like people are doing more of the hang. I feel like people are being more supportive of each other. I mean, Jay Rivera came to my show last night to see me do my set. He didn't need to come out. I don't ever ask anybody to come out to my stuff, but I appreciate the fuck out of him every time they come out, because, and he came out. Jay is such a great guy. He's just so good. I love supporting him. He was having a little problem earlier in this year with kind of trying to find where he was at in comedy. And I just gave him some kind words and stuff. And I think he really appreciated it. And like, I really love that guy. And I mean, he came last night and he supported me. He helped clean up the club at the end of the night. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's just like, he's just such a good guy. And he did all that stuff that he didn't have to do. But I wish everybody was like that. I wish everybody had that attitude. I wish everybody would support their friends, and it's that support without people having to ask for it, and I think that goes back to putting people over. It costs you nothing, it cost him nothing to come see that show last night, but his time, which is the most precious resource. So it's, and recognize when somebody comes out too and thank them for it. Because like I said, he didn't need to come out to see that show. He didn't need to come hang out and do that stuff. He sure as hell didn't need to stay after the thing and help clean up the club and talk to the owner and talk to us, but that's because he's a good person and that's the kind of person he is. And honestly, he's he was one of the people I always look at when I first came on the scene, and all these people that are just were always doing so much better than me, they're finally coming in their own. And I want to be him. I want to be Jay. I want to be, I want to be Ty. I want to be all of these people. I want to be them, just, and not just because of where they're at with their success, but because I feel like they knew who they are, and they know what they're doing, and they know where they're going.
And they reach back, like even as young as Jay is, he's reaching back to people, and he's paying, like he's paying his dues. He's not just taking from the comedy community, he's giving.
Yeah, I wouldn't be where I even am right now, or have had all of these feature sets and opening sets and hosting sets at Wise Guys if Rodney Norman didn't think there was something there, if he didn't pay it back to me, if he didn't encourage me, give me these breaks, just if the people didn't give me the stage time, just all of those things. I mean, even this weekend, I was hoping to just come into a 5-minute guest spot. I was like, hey man, I'd love to just do my first, feature of the year. And then unfortunately, poor Justin got that Rona. I don't know if I was supposed to say. I don't like to say other people's business. I don't know if I was supposed to say that he did that or whatever.
Yeah,
but like
he did. He knows people know.
Oh, okay. But I wanted to be on the show with him, not replacing him on the show. You know what I'm saying? Because he's one of my favorite people too. I think about his levels of handicap joke. I'm not lying. I do think about that joke every week. I told him that. He's like, no, you don't. I'm like, bro, every time I see a handicap spot and some, skinny white lady that gets out with her, like, I'm like, oh, I always think about that joke. But I wanted to be with that guy, not replacing that guy, you know? And but I mean, I'm still thankful for the stage time. I'm thankful that I did a church clean set, proving that to myself and to the club I can do it, and but it's all because I'm a good person. It's all because I'm just staying positive, and all because like I'm easy. Like, oh, you don't have a spot for me this weekend? Cool. See you next week. And it's like that. I don't have an ego about it. I don't lament what other people had. I don't lament other people's bookings. Somebody else has got a show where I'm like, man, I'm finding them. I should be doing that show. No. You want to be on that show? Work hard to be on that show. You'll get there. So, yeah. Did part of me hope I was on Ty Rivera's top 5 list of new comedians? Yeah. But on the flip side, I've been doing it, those guys are way more road dogs. They do 6, 7, 8 shows a week, and like I said, I like my 2 days at Wise Guys because I'm trying to start this business and doing all this other stuff. That's all I can do right now. I can't be like those guys.
That's your business. I'm not going to fault them. That's nobody else's.
Fault them.
No.
Correct. No, nor should I fault them or their success. Nor should I fault, I love Kitty Pineapple. All the shows she's getting, she's like a rocket right now. Every time I turn around, another show. Am I jealous of that? I mean, I wish I was on as many shows and all that stuff, but I'm more happy for her success. I mean, she's grinding. I mean, just in clothes cost alone, like it's, so but that's, I think the whole thing is just, just be good to people, be positive people. Don't be jealous of people because everybody has a different path in this.
That's right.
A lot of people hate on Conan because he hasn't been doing comedy that long, and yet he is really shooting up. He's getting booked everywhere. I mean, he's doing sold out shows with Edwin San Juan on the daily over there, and people are like, oh, well, why should I should be all that stuff and everything. And I'm like, dude, because he did the work. He hopped on every opportunity he had. I love his story because, he was at that Russell Peters show and he picked him out of the audience and challenged him to do 5 minutes. And he came out of the audience and did 5 minutes, and he took him on the road after that. Why? Because he did the work. Because at the right place at the right time, when the opportunity came from him, he stepped up to the challenge and did it. That's the kind of person he is. He was a pro gamer. Now he's a freaking bodybuilder. Now he's a freaking phenomenal comedian that I wish I could be like Conan. And he's a great guy. He's so nice. He's so cool. So, I mean, but a lot of people hate on that guy. And it's like, why? Because he's faster successful than you? There's no one path in this business. People say, oh, you're going to be in comedy 10 years till you find your voice. Maybe I've seen people get on stage and know their voice the first time they got on stage. Correct. So, it's just, Shelve the
Is it
hateration.
the best version of their voice? Maybe not, but
No,
they
but at
knew
least they
their,
got it. They
yeah,
got it. You know, like I said, I feel like I have my voice, but I want to put more of me into it. You know, so it's yeah. So like I said,
always. We
so I
always,
mean, like I said, maybe I'm getting a little ranty, maybe I'm getting a little preachy, but you know, it's like I said,
no, I loved it.
these
I
are the
loved
things
it.
just how I live my life, and you know, and I'm bringing in real examples of people and stuff that I'm seeing in the community and stuff right now in the Vegas community that you know I can draw from for all of these examples.
You're
So
giving real tips.
yeah, so yeah, I mean, like I said, I hope it was good. I hope I didn't ramble too much.
Oh, no, you stayed right on topic. And thank you so much for the interview. Anything else that you want to say? The name is of your podcast is Edging the Truth.
Yep.
And where can people follow you on social media? Where do you want more numbers?
Yeah, so it's so I'm Brian Shinanigan, all I's, all A's. If you spell it with any other vowel, you spelled it wrong. So it's Brian Shinanigan. I have my website up as of this week, brianshinanigan.com. I'm pushing out a lot more clips and stuff. I'm pushing bookings. My podcast is Edging the Truth. You can find that at edgingthetruth.com. Just go right to the website. You can find all the podcast links and all that stuff. Like I said, you can always find me playing games. If you follow Ron Funches, twitch.tv/Ron_Funches. I love that I'm plugging another comedian's Twitch stream on mine, but I'm always on there playing with him. So, like I said, if you, and it's always fun. We're always joking around. We're always busting each other balls. It's a great time. He's a great guy too, so I don't mind promoting Ron. I love him. He's really been I'd say he's just been a real friend to me, and I've really appreciated it, you know, through all this stuff. So
It's a fabulous comic.
yeah, and even and shout out to my friend Carmen Morales, who's just also been such a friend and so encouraging, and honestly has thrown some opportunities at me that she didn't have to. You know,
Thanks for doing that, Carmen.
yeah,
You picked a
she's
good
introducing
guy.
me to people to you know that she doesn't have to introduce me to, and I really appreciate it. She's got her HBO special coming out, so check that out. So I like to plug everybody, put everybody over. It doesn't cost you nothing. So but yeah, BrianShenanigan.com, all platforms. You will see me at Wise Guys every week. I'm there every Tuesday, Wednesday till they tell me to stop. And I'm booked there at least once a month as a opener or a feature or something. I have been classified officially as a regular weekend feature. So that is my official classification from the folks there. So you know, just come on out, and like I said, it's the only standalone comedy club that's not attached to a casino. Come out there. A lot of the shows are free right now. They're bringing in some phenomenal people, and it's our home comedy club for a lot of us, and we really want to encourage this community and get more people in there. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, just come out and support live comedy. Come out and be a part of this community. If you want to do comedy, come out and do it. You know, nobody's going to tell you no.
The minute I walked into Wise Guys, it was like my home club. It had that feel, and the motive of everybody is their pure motive, and they're driven, and they accept you right where you're at, and there's also nice, and the whole vibe in the entire, everybody on the staff, and they create an atmosphere where we can excel.
Yeah, and Keith Yoder was a comic, and he wants, you know, he built this club for comics. He's opening up other clubs in other places to do the same thing, to have a place to shine those comics, you know, in other places. So I mean, he's helping. You know, I appreciate everything that Wise Guys has done for me. I appreciate everything Keith has done for me. You know, the management, even the bartenders and the staff and everybody, they're all so friendly. I know everybody's name there. They're all just nice people. Every time I come in there, they're like, "There he is," you know, and it's just that it's welcoming, and like I said, from the first week I went in there, I considered it my home club, and I still do. I mean, I hand out hundreds of tickets for it a week. I'm constantly promoting it. Everybody who will tell me, I'll know. I did a radio interview. I was going to the radio just to promote the ice cream store, just to talk about promoting the ice cream store. And the guy heard I was a comic and turned off the music and put me on the radio at 2:30 to talk about the ice cream stuff and my comedy and that stuff. And we talked for a few minutes, and I promoted the club and all that stuff, you know. And like I said, that dude didn't have to do that for me, but he liked me, and he put me on, and I was able to promote the club and do that kind of stuff, and it didn't cost me a damn thing. And that's what I'm saying. So just be good to people, put everybody over, and good things will happen to you. Just
That's
don't
it.
be a dick. Just don't be a dick. It's easy to be a dick. Being a dick's easy. Being a nice person is a harder path. Choose the harder path.
I love you. You're amazing. Thank you
Oh, thank
so
you.
much. I'll post
Oh
this
yeah.
if you'll share it like you always do. That would be so awesome.
No problem. Linda, do you have a Twitter, Linda? You got to get a Twitter if you don't have a Twitter. We need all platforms.
I have a
Do
Twitter.
you? All right, I just got to follow you on the Twitter because I was looking for it today to tag it, and I'm like, how come I can't find it? But
Yeah, it's under. It's a. I'll send it to you so you have it.
yes. I gotta promote everything on everywhere because I love me some Linda. I gotta promote the Linda stuff too. So
Thank you, Brian. I'll see you later.
Thanks for having me. Hopefully it was a good, informative podcast that everybody enjoys, and
yes,
we'll run it back again.
Follow him on social media and come to Wise Guys when you're in Vegas because he's the regular feature at Wise Guys, which means he's not just the host, or he actually is right before the headliner right now. It's not going to be long before he's a headliner.
Well, let's see. Let me get 45 good minutes. Let me get 45 good minutes. I got 45 minutes now, but it's just enough to make like a couple of good 25-minute sets. Let me work a little more. I'm a solid feature right now. Let's go with solid feature.
It's always to be more prepared. Yes.
And as one final tip, make sure that when you're at the end of your set, you didn't say all of your jokes. Okay, have something left at the end. If you said all of your jokes in your 45 minutes, you don't have 45 minutes of comedy. Okay, so.
Wow, that's a great tip. Wow.
One more chestnut before we go. So.
Yes.
But thank you, Linda. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you lots.
Love ya.